realized I ordered the wrong part and went inside and just ordered the correct one. So I'm like, all right, what else am I going to do for the rest of the day? And one of the things I needed to do is to fix this floorboard before I start driving this vehicle. As you can see, it has the Fred Flintstone option, or the whatever disease you get from rust. Anyway, so I have this plate that I did a long time ago. I just trimmed the bracket and kind of slid it in there. I need to make some cuts on this side and this side. As you can see, I put some marks on it because it has to go over the frame rail. And then I do have this floor pan halfway built that I need to put on top of this. And then I'm going to have to do some creative stuff here that's not a part of the floor pan to get that to all fit right. I'm pleased that this top section looks okay, and I can use it as a template or do whatever. But yeah, so I'm going to trim this piece up, and my thought was once I get it in, I can clean up both sides, weld this and this, because this metal is pretty good. It was just the stuff that was on top that just sat with water on it, and then get these in place and then kind of move forward with that. So I'm just gonna play around with that. Why not? Okay, so here's what I got. I trimmed it on both sides, and I also drilled holes so I can plug weld along the sides, and then I'll weld along the top, and then weld this on. And I already drilled the hole, and that looks okay. So this should be a good, I mean, this I believe is the bracket for the step side, right? So I still have to do the floor, and the floor will get possibly this puck here, and you can kind of see the floor is still kind of intact there, or I have a smaller puck somewhere around here that's probably 3/4 of this size. So depending on how it looks when I get the floor in, but I think this will do just fine for this lower brace. So I'm gonna weld it in and see how it goes. Okay, I thought it was possibly going to be one of those days that I needed to just pack it up and quit for the day, but I was able to push through. And I know not the best welds. I'm actually kind of pleased with my thing right there. Normally a side joint like that where gravity's involved is not my friend. It usually looks all boogered like that one there, but I actually got into a nice little groove and a nice flame going. So anywho, like I said, I have the spot welds. I need to do some grinding, and I know especially that one was way too much material, but it's in. I'm happy with it. It's not really holding up the fender so much. I mean, it is right now only because there's no cab to help with that, but the other piece that's coming in is actually what's going to hold the cab up and make the door close. I mean, it closes a little better right now, but not much. And you can kind of see, I don't know if you can tell, that piece is kind of tweaked a little bit so that it's holding too much weight. It's only supposed to be supporting this piece down here, and instead it's kind of supporting the whole driver's side cab. So more to come on that. But, you know, I got something done that I wanted to get done, and I can now, when I get ready to do the floors, I can just start focusing on the floor pan and not have, this is work that needed to be done, and before I could do the pan. So I got that out of the way. I'm pleased. So I'm going to wrap it up for today, and start waiting for parts. All right, so while I'm waiting for parts to do the clutch, I'm just sitting here looking at this rust hole in the cab. So I'm gonna kind of play around with the floor pan that I built a while back. There's a earlier video on that. And so I removed the seat and kind of cut open some section. Yeah, so I got the floor pan in. Let me show you what it looks like when it's in. So there's what it looks like it's in when it's in place. I feel good about the basic dimensions. I had to remove this lip because this needs to turn down and sit in here. And there's actually some of the floor pan metal that I need to remove so that it's a straighter edge. But I think this is a good start to repairing all this. So I'm just going to kind of keep massaging the metal and kind of get everything the way I want it before I start tacking stuff in. Here is where I am currently at. I got the pan in place. I think it's fitting pretty good. I redid this edge, kind of made it more abrupt so it fit in. I need to drill some plug well holes on that side, and I got some self-tapping screws to kind of get it into place. So how I'm going to do this is I am not going to trace it and cut it and hope for the best. I'm going to do what I saw or learned from watching Fitzy's fabrications on YouTube, where you tack it down in places so that it's not going to move, and then you cut and butt weld, cut, butt weld, cut, butt weld, so that the panel doesn't shift. I think when I was doing the Fury, I had some issues where I would just kind of go around welding it all in, and when I got done, it's like the whole thing just kind of shifted a little bit. So tacking it in, self-tapping screws, and then just slowly working my way around and welding this thing in is just so much easier, because I'll just cut and I'll know that section is ready to be butt welded and just move on. So fingers crossed. Okay, I had to take a step back, as right there is a brace, and using that method where I was going to trim, I was not going to be able to get that off because they're spot welded on. So cut that out. Now I'm going to put it back on and self-tap screw everything in place. Okay, so everything is tapped screws. Sorry, it's late, it's hot, I'm tired. It's been a full day, but not this work, which is really sad. That's the real sad story. So I've got it in place. I think I'm gonna drill a hole for that and make sure that my bolt hole lines up. I could even put a bolt through there and make sure that thing isn't gonna budge, and that will help me even more ensure that this thing doesn't move. I don't know, still thinking. Okay, so here's where I'm at, finishing up for the day. I've got this whole side welded, and it's really making this a lot stronger, so of course, but I was pleased that actually did what I was hoping it was going to do. And then I've done this whole section. I've added that piece, and that piece was where I just couldn't get good metal to weld to. I was just blowing big old holes, and I just wasn't going to catch up. So I'm like, all right, stop what I'm doing, cut a piece out. I may have to do that over here because that's kind of what that metal was looking like. But if I have to do that, I have to do it. But all I have left is to do that whole wall and to do some plug welds here. And this floor is going to be done. Well, it's going to be in place. But the most important thing is this. The jack is removed. It is not jacked up anymore. And that's what this was all about. Was I don't expect this door to like be perfect closed and all that kind of stuff, but you know, much better than it was before. And the cab is not closing in on itself. It is back to, at least this side, supporting itself on the new mounts that I made. So I am super pleased. I'm just going to keep moving on. I should be, I would assume I'll be done tomorrow with the rest of the welding. And some of this stuff should go pretty easy. But we'll see. Okay, so here's the raw weld-in part. I'm pleased with it. It fits. You know, I had some concerns about some of this rusted metal and whether I was going to be able to weld to it, but I was able to get all the way through. So now I just need to check for pinholes and probably spend a week's worth of grinding, but I'm super pleased. You know, like I said, the main reason was this, that I don't have to lift the door and jam it in, and I can actually, you know, feel comfortable driving around in this car and getting in and out of it with ease. So I do have the other side to do. It is pretty much just as bad, maybe a little better, but we'll see. I don't know if you can see from the video, but it's a little higher on this side. That's the way I think it is from the factory. If I look at that one over there, it's high on the inside, and I think it's because there's no drain plugs, so they want any water to work its way out, which is why they rust here for the most part. So anyway, it's in, it's good. The mounts are in the right spot. It's holding it up nicely, and so I'll do some grinding, and then I'm going to POR 15. I am going to have to kind of raise the cab up so that I can get underneath and get some POR 15 in there and let it dry, and then close it down. And if that stuff isn't dry, it's probably going to bond that stuff together, but I just want to make sure that I solve the rust problems. Oh, and I do need to, you know, as I would make a cut, there would be metal underneath, and some of it didn't fall, so that tells me that some of the weld got to it. But overall, I'm super pleased, and I think this is a big step. I think some people would look at this car and those rust spots and just say, you know, this truck's totaled. But I feel like I'm bringing it back, and I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be really good. I'm really happy, and looking forward to moving on. So